Hello learners, this is Ashish. I'm the instructor for your Arduino Programming course. In this episode, I'll be talking more about variables because I want to make you clear what actually variable is. As I've told, variables are nothing but the containers that holds the data. Just keep this in your mind and now just think of a case. If you want to identify something, it needs a specific name, isn't it? Similarly, to identify particular data in a memory, it needs a name as an identifier. Now they are called variables. The naming must be done explicitly because we are the ones who will be accessing to the data in future. Therefore, it must be a meaningful name so that we can recall it later on. For example, just think that you have a dog, and if you have named the dog as Tommy, that's because the intention is whenever you call that name, the dog has to respond. Even the same thing applies there. Now declaring a variable means we are telling the computer that we need some amount of space from the memory for a given name so that we can store data in it. But the computer doesn't really know how much of space it should allot and what type of data you are actually storing. There comes the concept of data types. So whenever we want some space from the memory, we need to create variables with reference to data types. Now what this data types does is it explicitly tells the computer that this is the type of data that we have and we need this amount of space so that computer can allot required amount of space to us to store our data. It's like storing 1 kg of sugar inside a container which has capacity of storing 1 kg. Because we are so specific here that if the capacity of the container is less than 1 kg, then the sugar will overflow. The same analogy even applies there, so that we don't want our data to be overflown. Now think that you have two containers. Let's name it as type A and type B. The type A has the storage capacity of 1 kg and the type B up to 0.5 kg. Just assume that you have 0.8 kg of sugar and 0.3 kg of salt, and you are so specific that you have to store sugar in type A and salt in type B because of its storage capacity. If you try to mix both, then both the items will get spoiled, isn't it? Similarly, in programming, we have types. They are called data types, which can store a particular data belonging to a specific type. They are int, double, char, bool, and so on. There is also one more type, that is void, which is of no type. This void is used only in functions when we are not expecting any values in return. That's it. This might be confusing, but just keep in mind that void is of no type. Coming back to the data type, int. Now int is a type which can store integer values from negative 32,768 to positive 32,767. The space that it takes in memory is 2 bytes. Then the double, which is also a float, and the space that it takes in the memory is 4 bytes. And then char, which is also pronounced as char, it takes 1 bytes in memory. And again the bool occupies the same amount of space as char. Here is the table, just pause the video and have a look at it. Okay, now we have learned why to use data types, and now we will see what are the rules for defining a variable. The first thing is that it can start with the alphabets or underscores only, which means it cannot start with a number or any other special case symbols. And if you're using two different words, you cannot have space between them. Either it must be concatenated or separated by an underscore if required, but white spaces are not allowed. That's it. Always try to set a meaningful name for a variable. For example, if you have to store first name, then avoid using short names like fn. Better to use first underscore name. This is more readable, isn't it? And avoid using keywords. Keywords are nothing but the special words which is predefined by Arduino. To be more precise, these words are already used by Arduino for performing some operations. For example, here is a list of keywords. Have a look at it. At the last, we have three different styles of defining a variable. They are camel case, in which the starting letter of the first word is written in lowercase and all starting letters of the upcoming words are written in uppercase. And then comes the Pascal case. This is same as the camel case, but all the starting letters are in uppercase. And snake case. Here, all the letters are written in lowercase, but each words are separated by an underscore. This was it for this episode. If you have learned something new from this episode, then subscribing will motivate me to create more such videos. Thank you.